big test, but once we're over Waterford, it's home and dry.
Yet we haven't given a hope, haven't seen one newspaper yet with Waterford, and it's all Cork. We're going to do it today. Come on, the nation!
I'd love to see Waterford winning, but I think Cork will win.
They've done well, they've done us proud like up to now, so hopefully today they'll do us extra proud.
Sure, it's only Waterford. Oh, no.
John, just a couple of minutes to go now before the throw-in. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, everything has been done at this stage from our point of view. You know, there's nothing else we could do. Everybody is fit. Everybody that we have in our panel is ready to go. Hopefully the rain will hold off, and you know, it's all on the day.
When you played them last, of course, just 9 weeks ago, they had a huge incentive after all. You were the All-Ireland champions, but they were the Munster champions. Now this time around, having lost just by 2 points, it's a whole new ball game.
It is, absolutely. I suppose it's a lot of it is quite the same, where Waterford will come into the first game on the back of a very mediocre league campaign, and now they've come into this game on the back of a very mediocre round-robin campaign. Nevertheless, you know, it's 2-2 in games. We've had, you know, a few epic games in the past few years. It certainly is all to play for.
The dogs in the streets had it during the week that this is the game Cork did not want. What's the real truth?
Well, I suppose we didn't really, but you know, the minute, I think early in the week before the draw was made, I think we all knew that there was a 50-50 chance if Waterford did lose, we would, you know, possibly get to play them. And you know, once the draw was made, you know, we're quite happy to get on with it. It's motivation isn't a factor for both sides, and you know, if we're good enough to win the All-Ireland, we'll have to beat Waterford again.
Justin, the theory of all the qualifiers is that by the time you get to the quarterfinals, you've got the best 15 out in the field. Are you happy now with a new goalkeeper and all the rest of the changes that everything is right?
Yeah, we're happy with the whole situation. We train well, we're working hard, and there's one chance now for Waterford today. We have to do it.
Of course, this is a beginning of a new championship, really. What's gone before is finished and done with.
Well, this was our aim, to get to the quarter-final, and this was the day we planned for back along a while ago after the Munster Championship. So it's all to play for, winner takes all, and that's what we have to try and do.
You've won 2 Munsters in 4 years. Was the All-Ireland really your big target for 2005?
Yeah, definitely it is. I mean, you know, the Munster Championship is Waterford have won that twice, but this is the big one, and this is the one we really have to go flat out for.
Have you a good feeling?
Well, I think we can do it. If we play the potential, we have the potential to do it. I think we'll be there.
Well, I have no doubt they have the intention to do it, but the question is, will they be able to? And one of the questions, gentlemen, will be about their new goalkeeper. I mean, I know they've had problems in their defence, and particularly the full back line, and it's been reflected in their goalkeeper. They've thrown in Clinton Hennessy here.
Yeah, and it's the second year they've done it, you know. They had Regan in last year and performed very poorly in the semi-final. They've done it again now with Clinton Harrison, a young player, played during the league, then dropped out during the league and brought back again. So big doubts about him, but everybody would wish him well, because it's a huge thing for a young goalie to come in and play in a big game like this. But the last 2 times Waterford came in here, they came in here as Munster champions. Today they're coming in as rank outsiders. A situation that's absolutely perfect for Waterford. So if ever they're going to perform in Croke Park, if ever they're going to perform, this is the day for them. This is the day that they should perform.
Jerry, I'd have to say that they've all the league, all the Munster Championship, all the preliminaries, and they have a problem with goalkeeper in the backs all along, and yet they go to this stage to drop, say, Stephen Brennan, who I think is unlucky enough, because he made maybe one mistake, but others, there wasn't much he could do inside Ninnis. Now Clinton Hennessy is probably very good, but this shouldn't be the day that you're making this dropping or picking
a
ball.
Whose fault is that?
I put it down to management, really. Like, someone, you'd have to make the call early on and stick with someone. Like, he could have a blinder, and I hope he does have a blinder, because if he doesn't, like, he's kind of blamed and the management blamed. But I, like Jared, I knew this was there earlier. They should have this solved before now. This isn't the day to do it. Even though there could be the heroes afterwards, it's still a very, very big call. They felt they had to make it, but there's something wrong.
It's a gamble call, isn't it?
It's a gamble call.
I mean, not just the goalkeeper, but even the way, like, the defence.
They'd all asked her to get this right, like.
But we've been talking about the full back line for the first round of the championship, and having a dodgy goalie behind that again, you know, exacerbates the problem completely. But at the same time, you know, Fergal Hartley's on Brian Corcoran. Brian Corcoran is next to a speedster, and Hartley's a clever player. Now he made 2 mistakes at the very start of the last day. He won't make mistakes like that today.
Yeah, Jared, to be fair to him, he made the mistakes earlier, but he got back into the game, played very, very well. See, Corcoran won't have the feet in him now. Hartley is cute. There won't be that much between the teams are in there, but like, you'd have to say the whole time that Cork are a proven you know what Cork are going to do. On a good day, get their game going, they're very hard to beat, they play very well.
I think
There's a bit of an enigma around
Kelly and Bennett
Waterford.
in midfield, you know, on Tom Kenny and Jerry O'Connor, when they went out of the game in the second half against Tipperary in the Munster final, the whole thing fell apart in Cork. Will they regain that form, or will Kelly and Bennett get the better of those at midfield? I think that'll be a crucial question.
For those who've just walked in the door and turned on the television, in one word, who's going to win it?
Cork.
Sir?
After he talking up Waterford all day, this is looking at his best. This is looking at his best. God, this is the guy that said Clare were finished in the first round and we're saying they were gone forever. He's back.
But I told you they were going to win today.
Get out of it.
I told you they were going to win today.
Well, one word from yourself then.
I think Cork will get through all right.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for that. We'll leave it at that. Let's hear from our second commentary team for the afternoon, and that's Michael Duignan at first, Ger Canning.
Thanks very much indeed, Michael. Yes, the breeze is pretty strong here in Croke Park right now. I can tell you that Waterford have won the toss and they opted to play with the wind behind them for the opening 35 minutes. As you say, Michael Duignan's alongside me. A wise move to get Waterford to settle down. Remember the awful start they made in fairness?
Yeah, I think it's a very wise move. I think Cork have been dominant in all their matches in the first 40-45 minutes, building up a big lead and then defending it. So it'll be interesting today to see if Waterford can build up a lead and put the pressure on Cork. Going into the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, will Cork then have the bottle? And, you know, it's a very interesting game. I think Cork have the best team in the country. I've been saying it all year, but they have been in and out of matches all year, and they haven't had the same hunger as they've had last year. Unless that's there today, Waterford are the team to exploit it. And new goalie or no new goalie, they have loads of great individual players. I still think Cork will win it, but I think it could be a cracking match here today in Croke Park.
Well, let's hope so. As the teams continue their parade, it's time for us to take a look at the two teams for the afternoon. And Cork clearly see no reason to change a winning outfit, so it's the same 15 that started the Munster final. Cornerback Pat Mulcahy has recovered from a foot injury, which necessitated stitches in his heel, while Brian Corcoran, forced to withdraw with a shoulder injury before half-time against Tip, is also in from the start. The much vaunted half-back line was seriously tested by Waterford in May, but Ronan Curran and Sean O'Go-Halpine can be expected to lift their game today in the company of John Gardner, who was arguably Cork's top performer in the Munster final, after which he's been honoured as Cork's top sportsman for the month of June. Well, Waterford's goalkeeping change is the most notable feature of this quarter-final lineup. Clinton Hennessy comes in for his debut on a day when Dave Bennett is recalled to midfield, and Jack Kennedy replaces the suspended Owen McGrath. There's always speculation about switches and moves, but for now Paul Flynn is left half forward, and Michael Welch, you see him there on the 40. And the man who ran the show for Waterford in May, Owen Kelly, is chosen to start at centre field, having given Cork 6 of the best just 2 months ago. Can he get another 6 points this afternoon? That's the background, that's the build-up. We'll be back with all the action right after this.
Tony Brown, Paul Flynn, Ken McGrath, players like that, Dan Shanahan, they're not going to be around. You know, they're at the peak now. They're 29, 30, 31 years of age. They're at the peak of their careers. And if they don't do it this year, I really don't see them winning All-Ireland after this year. This is one of the biggest matches these guys are ever going to play in. And just in the context of the week that's in it for Waterford, an awful week, terrible tragedy down in Waterford, and our condolences to all those people in Waterford. But if the county ever needed a lift, and if you ever had an opportunity to come out and help your county, this is the day. So if there's anything in these guys, it should come out today, and the Waterford jersey should mean everything to them.
Just doing those post-match interviews, you got the feeling that Cork, well, they would have wished for any other opposition really among the quarter-finalists, probably, except an old meeting with Waterford again. That's the feeling I got from John Allen. But they're up for it. You can only face the opposition that is put in front of you. By comparison, Waterford, well, they're very much the underdogs. They're well supported as always, wherever they go. There is great faith and belief in this team. But for Waterford people, they've won 2 Munsters. That was fine in 2002, first time for 39 years. But now they want the big prize. Now they want the Liam McCarthy Cup itself. Cork, for now, standing in their way at the quarter-final stage.
Please stand for a brief silence in memory of Tara Whelan from Kilbee, County Waterford, and also all the other victims of the recent bombing atrocity.
great sense of excitement. People looking for really good quality hurling here on a very, very good surface. A blustery day, a cloudy and dry day as well. Match referee today is Barry Kelly from Mullingar in County Westmeath. That's a change of referee. Match underway. And straight away, stalemate in the centre of the field. Remember, Cork playing into the goal on the left. Waterford looking for a much, much brighter start than they had 9 weeks ago when they conceded a goal and a point in the opening couple of minutes.
There's straight away with a host of changes. We have Dave Bennett joined by Michael Walsh in the middle of the field. Their half-hour line now reads Owen Kelly, Seamus Pendergast and Jack Kennedy, and we have John Milan and Paul Flynn inside the full forward line.
And that'll change again, you can be sure. Because that's the nature of the game, isn't it? Down towards Niall McCarthy there. He could have a vital role to play at centre forward. Comes out here towards the Waterford captain, Owen Kelly. First opportunity to get the ball away, not successful. Helped here by Ken McGrath. Chasing after him is Jerry O'Connor. Leaves the ball behind. This is Tom Kenny. Moving menacingly through the centre to Niall McCarthy. Trying to set up an opening scoring opportunity for Cork. Going for one himself. Dropping short. Really testing one for the goalkeeper. We're certain that Clinton Hennessy will be tested early and often by Cork. Prendergast doing his bit to try and keep that ball in play. Succeeded as well. Here comes Owen Kelly once again. Driving it away long down into the forward line. Pressure on the Cork full back line. Diarmuid O'Sullivan trying to get the ball away. Dan Shanahan there, but the referee's whistle has sounded, and it's going to be a free out to Cork. Pat O'Connor was to have been the match official, but he pulled a hamstring during the week when the referees were having their fitness assessments, and so Barry Kelly, the man who handled this year's Munster final, is in charge. Diarmuid O'Sullivan then into the breeze towards Brian Corcoran, man who got injured in the Munster final, got well away from his man that time and put it over the bar. The opening point after 2 minutes coming from Brian Corcoran. Fergal Hartley just lost his footing there, slipping and then making the chance a little easier for Brian Corcoran. Well, there were questions going into this just whether or not his shoulder was going to stand up to the rigours of a championship match. You can be certain that Waterford will test it. Here's Jerry O'Connor winning the duels in midfield, firing it long this time, too long for Joe Dean. Going back, Fergal Hartley, the man who was in self-imposed retirement for 12 months. Waterford coming forward here with James Murray. O'Sullivan comes out, fumbles initially, then gathers successfully. Trying to offload it towards Ronan Curran, flipped forward there by Dan Shanahan. John Gardner there, taking it, running into some Waterford players. That's Jack Kennedy. And that is going towards the right, going wide. First time for Jack Kennedy to start a championship match, but he really impressed when he came on against Kilkenny last year in the semi-final. Got 3 points that day. Donal O'Cusack towards Kieran Murphy, who has drifted out towards right half forward. That's James Murray there. And that has been a case of too many steps taken. Free into Cork. Another elementary mistake. Waterford can't afford to be gifting chances to Cork to hit shots at the target, so Joe Dean comes out immediately. Clinton Hennessy then calling the shots back there. His dad is away on holidays, Declan, in Lanzarote right now, missing his son's debut in the championship. Dean bending to strike this one, lobbing it in dangerously, taken down well. And once again it's Fergal Hartley out to James Murray, whipping it first time out of defence towards Prendergast. Great catch there by Ronan Curran, on his knees looking for support, finding Jerry O'Connor. Chasing after him is Owen Kelly. Back towards the team captain Sean O'Halpine, back to O'Connor once again, middle of the field. Good long lengthy one, has it got the range? And the referee says there was a man in the square. Appeared to be Ben O'Connor, who was in there to challenge Clinton Hennessy. But that was a really dangerous situation for Waterford.
I think Clinton Hennessy will take a bit of comfort from the first couple of balls. He's handled one very well, and he did well again there under pressure. And you know, just today I think Cork should go away from the running game and hand passing game and get the ball into the full forward line. You know, the doubts are about the Waterford full back line, and carrying the ball out the field and solo moving and hand passing is not going to help the cause inside.
The thing is, they've been playing to a system at this stage. You wonder whether they can make that change.
Well, they should be able to do that.
Here's Michael Walsh. Now John Milan didn't score at all in the Munster semi-final, and of course missed the game last year against Kilkenny because of suspension. Free quickly taken by Ronan Curran, down to Joe Dean. Better ball this time. Waterford are well aware of his threat. Here comes Timmy McCarthy, about to challenge Tony Brown. McCarthy close to the sideline. Seemed to be going nowhere. Did well. Did really well, but then the ball out over the sideline, and it's going to be a line ball to Waterford. Timmy McCarthy claiming that he didn't touch it out. Well, a lot of ball from tuckouts in the Munster final against Tipperary. McCarthy. There it is again here. And was the ball out? Well, in the end it was. This is Owen Murphy here from Shamrocks coming across to take the line ball. Shamrocks in Knockanore near Tallow in County Waterford. Kenny rising up almost unchallenged initially. Now they're trying to close him down. James Murray trying to get in a telling challenge. Joe Dean is around. There was a shoulder, but it was into the back that time, the referee decides. And James Murray gets a ticking for his troubles. Watch this once again here. That last ball in there on the goalkeeper. And as Michael Dignan was saying, Clinton Hennessy will grow in confidence from these early stops. Going to be a very nervous occasion for him. Joe Dean once again on the 45-metre line this time to try and double Cork's lead. Straight between the posts. So a goal from play, or a point from play and a point from a free now, and Cork 2 points to the good. Clinton Hennessy, who played in the first 4 league matches of the season, only beaten, by the way, by Kilkenny in the opening game when he conceded 2 goals that day. But with the breeze behind them, Waterford not making a great deal of headway after 7 minutes.
They're not sure. Worryingly, the Cork midfield and half-back line already, even though it's early in the game, are well on top.
This is Owen Murphy playing the ball off here to Tony Brown. Huge one in, well caught again by Ronan Curran. That's the second wonderful catch he's taken. Here comes Brian Murphy. Played out into the centre to the flying Jerry O'Connor, taking it around Michael Walsh almost with ease. Niall McCarthy then tripped. Free to Cork. Not a good start for Waterford. Switches and changes they've made haven't worked so far. They haven't got enough possession. But what about this for a catch? Absolutely brilliant by Ronan Curran. So it's another free, and this long-range one to be taken by Ben O'Connor. Ben playing today in his 25th championship match. A man who is blessed with wonderful hurling gifts. Kieran Murphy waiting inside alongside James Murray. Really good crowd present for this double bill. The brainchild of the Hurling Development Committee, the 4 quarter-finals. And that one has tailed away to the left. So no joy whatsoever for Ben O'Connor. I think the neutrals here, if there are any neutrals, are waiting for Waterford to get going. Here comes Seamus Prendergast. A man who would run his heart out for Waterford. Dangerous ball in, and it's over the bar. That's a bit more like it, but it's taken Waterford over 9 minutes to get their first score. Only 1 between them. Well, that will certainly please Seamus Prendergast. Always chips in with a score or 2. That's 1-6 for the championship this year. Donald O'Cusack ready to put the puck out. A man who made his debut against Waterford back in 1999. Towards Niall McCarthy, runs all the way through. That's going to be some tussle between McCarthy and Ken McGrath. And I'm not sure that Ken likes the tight man-to-man marking stuff. Prefers to play a looser game.
Yeah, he does a lot of sweeping, but I think teams have realised against Cork over the last 2 years in particular that you can't let Niall McCarthy. When he came on the scene first, his shooting was a little bit erratic, but now if you leave him loose, he's coming up at 4 and 5 points a game, and he really is Cork's key man in attack, so Ken will have to be tight. A wild stroke there and give away stupid free. John Gardner's tapped over the bar.
Brilliantly done by John Gardner. So 2 of Cork's points coming from frees, and they lead 3-1. Clinton Hennessy from Ardmore. Beautiful seaside area in Waterford. That's down to Tony Brown, one of 7 men who played here in Waterford's last quarter-final. A victory against Galway back in 1998. John Milan trying to make headway there against Brian Murphy, and they have had a tussle or two in recent years. You remember last year when Milan got sent off and then held scoreless in this year's championship, so he has a lot to prove, John Milan, but he's got a lot of quality. Referee calling aside another one of the Waterford players. That's Owen Kelly. Have to be careful about all possible bookings. Not sure that one was missed yesterday. I'm not sure it even happened, but it ended up with a man getting sent off.
That's right, and hopefully it'll be overturned. I thought myself, even though I'm not an expert in football, I thought it was very harsh.
All very well if there was a yellow card before that. I don't think there was one. Here's Donald O'Cusack with a free anyway. Missed by Tom Kenny. Knocked way in. That's a huge one. Dangerously in, and Dermot O'Sullivan manages to get the ball away. Brian Murphy completing the clearance towards Jerry O'Connor. Couldn't keep it in play. But that was a very, very dangerous ball played into the square that time. I think it was James Murray who played it in. Very, very dangerous. Watch Dermot O'Sullivan here against Paul Flynn.
Dermot O'Sullivan has started as well, Gerard, a lot better than he has in the last previous few games. He's been dominant under those first few balls. And putting Paul Flynn in, I wouldn't agree with that. I don't think he has the physical strength to cope with Dermot O'Sullivan. He's in it full forward now. I think he'd be better off with somebody maybe a bit more mobile.
Well, Jack Kennedy is an option in there. And of course Seamus Prendergast as well. This was a badly hit sideline ball straight to Jerry O'Connor. Waterford can win it back, however, to Tony Brown, who took that sideline ball. Knocking it, going long. That's good. Beautiful. Tony Brown over the bar from the middle of the field. And it's 3 points to 2. Well, that's 3 points for this championship for Tony Brown. Not bad for a right half back.
Yeah, what a player he has been for Waterford over the years. As far back as 98 he was hurler of the year after he won the All-Ireland, but he had such a great year that year. He was named by his fellow players as player of the year, and you know, it's back since 92-93 he's been a really top class player, and I think he's got more consistent as the years have gone by. He's not as flamboyant as he was, but he really does his job and is still able to chip a few points in.
So 13 minutes gone, and a reminder that the breeze is supporting Waterford in the first half, so they have to make headway in these opening 35 minutes, you would feel. And I think the win today is probably worth a lead of maybe 3-4 points, or should be. Sean O'Halpine from the Piercing. Cut out here well by Ken McGrath. Mopping up everything, linking up well here, but Owen Murphy. Huge one way down the field. Dan Shanahan leaving it there for John Milan. Came across diagonally on his left-hand side. Bad shot. Needs a score to get going. Just one. That's 2 opportunities he's had. I'm sure John Milan will look back on some brighter days against Cork. For instance, the 2003 final. Remember that day he got 3 goals and a point and still finished on the losing side of the Munster final. That's a bad puck out. The puck outs were talked about before the match. They need to be precise. Cork like to take them short, as we know. And Waterford are up to that particular ploy. Dave Bennett straight at Michael Welch. Waterford hold possession. Bennett again in the breeze. It's not easy to judge it, but he's judged it to a T. His eye was in that time. Beautifully hit by Dave Bennett. That's two really long-range points now in the last couple of scores, and the teams are level at 3 points apiece. Donald O'Cusack's puck out. Cork trying to win their own puck out, and again they failed to do so. Prendergast back towards Ken McGrath. This is a real walloper from inside his own 65-metre line, and it's over. Oh, it's not. It's wide. The crowd were cheering. It's wide. 3 wides now for Waterford. Well, he was giving it everything. Can be frustrating for the inside forwards, of course, when the men further out the field give it a lash like that, and it doesn't come off.
Well, it is, Jerry. Even in general play, they seem to be hitting the ball in very high into John Milan and Paul Flynn inside. They need the ball in front of them, and a diagonal low ball inside.
15 minutes gone. Cork owned the opening 6-7 minutes of the game. Waterford have now come back strongly. This is towards Milan. In the corner there is Brian Murphy. Had his problems against Owen Kelly of Tipperary, but then who wouldn't? Oof, he's in trouble here with the hand pass. Waterford pick it up. Comes back here towards Milan. Pass from Paul Flynn, and the referee has blown his whistle, and it's a free into Waterford. Dangerous situation, as you can see, just outside the 20-metre line with the sides level. Early stages of the match. This is it again here.
Jerry, I'd be surprised if Paul Flynn doesn't go for a goal here. Over the years, every chance he gets like this, he tends to go for it. I think it'll be a great boost. 16 minutes gone playing with the wind. They need to go for a goal here, in my opinion.
Well, a goal or a point here from Flynn will see Waterford in front for the first time in the match. The Guinness quarter-final saved. Back in again, and it's a goal. Dan Shanahan. Another one for Dan Shanahan.
Just going to say there, his goal-scoring record against Cork. Paul Flynn missed it. Dan Shanahan in after like a shot, like any good forward, followed it in, and a great finish.
Well, score of 6 goals in last year's championship, and here's another one here. And of course, he got one against Cork 9 weeks ago. It's the big boost that Waterford has looked for. Now it's up to Cork to respond. Niall McCarthy towards Joe Dean, being marked by Owen Murphy, and the referee says there was a push, and he's indicting the Cork man, and Dean looks bemused at referee Barry Kelly. The referee saw something.
I think he just played the hurl, Ger. He was just behind his man, just caught the wrong side of his man and just gave it. We don't get it there in that replay, but just as the ball was coming across, I think he just played the hurl a little bit.
Ken McGrath with the free. Owen Kelly doing the running. Letting it run in into the corner there towards Jack Kennedy, being marked there by Pat Mulcahy. Well, those who said that this wasn't the match that Cork wanted because the teams knew one another so well, and Cork had beaten Waterford by 2 points only 2 months ago. And you get the feeling that Waterford are more up for it. Cork ready, however, with fire in their bellies to come back and get the vital scores, and Joe Dean has got them a point. That's a second for Dean. It's a tight match and it's an intriguing contest. Just the slightest of opportunities, and Dean punishes Waterford.
Yeah, and I think that's where Brian Corcoran really helps this Cork forward line. You know, he leads by example there. His defensive qualities come out, and their tackling in their forward line is excellent. It creates a lot of scoring chances for them.
This comes out to Michael Welsh, outside it now as far as Owen Kelly. Could do no wrong when the sides last met. That's a good ball in, dangerously taken away here by Donald O'Cusack. Good ball away, great distribution out as far as Tom Kenny. Now how will Cork use the ball? Dean on towards Brian Corcoran, trying to beat his man. Fergal Hartley leaving it there. Comes out to Ken McGrath, switching the play out into the corner immediately. That's Tony Brown. John Milan onto his left-hand side, favourite side. Will it curl in? It does. Or no, it doesn't, not quite. Well, we were right behind it here. It was close enough. Thought he just had that one.
Yeah, and he needs to keep his head. You know, sometimes in the past John gets frustrated. He's had a couple of wides now and a free given against him. He just needs to keep it nice and calm. He'll get plenty more chances before the end of the game.
Donald Cusack pucking it out, this time way down along the field, and Tony Brown comes and mops it up again. Cork are doing poorly on their own puck outs. Pressure on them again here with John Milan against Sean O'Halpine on his right hand side, this time blocked down effectively. John Gardner trying to win possession, comes out towards Milan again. Nicely back this time towards Dave Bennett, scored earlier on. Away by Pat Mulcahy. Timmy McCarthy winning primary possession here, and there's a foul by Tony Brown, and the referee may give him a little caution for that. Speaking with Waterford's number 5, playing today in his 31st championship match. And that's a yellow card.
I think that's a good decision, Jerry. He was a long way away from the ball there, down the back of the head, and he caught the ball 3 foot ahead over his head. So
no complaints.
No complaints.
John Gardner to take this free. Referee wants him back a metre. Crowd get a little annoyed. And at the end of all that, it's still just outside Cork's 65-metre line. Huge one. And again, the goalkeeper does well. Clinton Hennessy making the save. Well, he's been taking those lobs into the square well, looking confident. Michael Welch down there, James Murray under pressure. This is Kieran Murphy, got a goal against Tipperary, of course. That's an awkward angle, that's a tricky one. Just a little bit too tricky on this occasion. This is the Tony Brown one again here.
Yeah,
watch the challenge. Oh, no question about it.
Yeah, very, very late and way away from the ball. Dangerous tackle.
Ronan Curran can't catch this one, but Brian Murphy dodging in, nipping away. Cork tend to overdo the hand passing on occasions. Gardner down towards Dean. Murphy sticking to him very, very tightly. There's support here from Fergal Hartley. Tripped on his way out. Little tangle of legs. Free to Waterford. Tony Brown in to quickly have a word or two with him, just to urge him on to even greater efforts. And John Allen here, his first season in charge as manager. Huge task he took on, already having won the Munster title. Here they are in the quarter-final. Under pressure, out as far as Sean O'Halpine. Beyond Kieran Murphy this time. Easy one there for Tom Feeney, who's playing left corner back right now. Across beautifully in towards Owen Kelly. Challenged by Mulcahy, fouled as he was going through. Free to Waterford. 1-3 to 4 points. Waterford are leading. Dermot O'Sullivan down, showing the effects of a recent challenge. Pat Mulcahy was ticked, by the way, for that last foul. Physio in straight away. That's Declan O'Sullivan to attend to his namesake Dermot O'Sullivan. Paul Flynn being spoken to. I think after he batted the ball away there, Dermot O'Sullivan got himself injured. Might watch this again here. Yep, overstretched. Down he came very awkwardly and painfully. He's back on his feet. Or is he? No, he's not just yet.
Sure, this running game of Cork, you know, the last ball there, Brian Murphy came out with the ball. There was nobody within 20 yards, and he gave a hand pass over to John Gardner, and he had to go backwards to pick up the pass and then try to turn it, and the full forward line are all coming out the field. If you look at the Cork full forward line now, there's nobody within. Brian Corcoran is on the 50-metre line, and Joe Dean is just walking back in. They're getting frustrated and coming out the field and losing their shape, and that's because they're not playing the ball into them.
Well, Paul Flynn is happy. He's got himself his opening score and a goal between them after 24 minutes. Three against one there. The three should do it for Waterford. Tom Feeney, who plays his hurling with Sarsfields in Glanmire in Cork. Over there against another Glanmire man, Kieran Murphy. That's going to be a free to Cork. Ken McGrath arguing the toss. Interesting that after John Allen's last visit in, Joe Dean has, I think, been instructed to stay in further in around the square and cause a bit of havoc. There he is. Ben O'Connor hitting this one sweetly and directly over the bar. Ben's first point. So 2 pointed frees per team now in the last couple of minutes. Once again, the margin is just 2 points. So the running repairs here for Owen Murphy. And Justin McCarthy, just was saying beforehand, I think the message was clear, has been all year. The one he's going for this year is very definitely the All-Ireland Championship. Don't forget the RTE competition in conjunction with Bank of Ireland. You pick the man of the match, rather the Guinness Bank of Ireland competition, of course. You pick the man of the match, and then there's tickets for next weekend's hurling quarterfinals, plus overnight accommodation for 2 people. There's the number on screen, or text match at 57111. Again, Ronan Curran lets it drop down, but always available is Jerry O'Connor. Into space. Brian Corcoran racing after it, taking Fergal Hartley out of position, but the angle is tied out into the corner. Waterford will be happy enough to bottle him up out there, and Waterford do well, and it's James Murray. Knows Cork well, was a student at UCC, and that's going to be a Cork ball. Couldn't quite deliver the clearance out because he was well aware that he was going to be hooped. So pressure once again on Waterford's goal area. Cork yet to really threaten Clinton Hennessy with a shot of any kind. There have been lobs and there have been shots from a fair old distance out, but no clear-cut goal opportunities. Ben O'Connor, good connection, dangerous one in. Goalkeeper does really well this time. Hennessy getting it out. Waterford under pressure still, however. And this is Owen Murphy. Good clearance by Murphy. Well delivered up as far as Seamus Prendergast, taking on Ronan Curran. Really doing well, carrying it expertly. Beautiful point. That's a second great point in this match by Seamus Prendergast, and it all came from the line ball, batted out successfully by the goalkeeper, and then taken away into the middle and put over the bar. This is up towards John Milan. He goes down under the challenge of Brian Murphy and looks in considerable distress. Having switched across the top of the left, his marker followed him. Referee just checking on the well-being of Waterford's De La Salle player. And then going back to Brian Murphy just to have a word with him.
It's a definite yellow card. It's a very similar incident to we saw here with Tony Brown a few minutes ago.
Yep. Yellow card per team. Bit of a history between those two, Murphy and Milan.
You could say that. But there is a swirling breeze. It's difficult enough to judge the ball, but you still have to be careful under a ball.
Let's take a look at this again here from the reverse angle. And as you say, much the same as the incident involving Tony Brown. So 2 yellow cards, 1 per team. John Milan back on his feet. Waterford have the free. Paul Flynn, 1 free so far, successfully converted. That's 1 out of 2 shots taken. Bit of jostling going on in front of goal. Nothing terribly serious. Dan Shannon just standing up alongside John Gardner. Referee says, take the free. 6 minutes to go to half-time. That's over. A second for Paul Flynn. And Waterford once again leading by a goal and a point. 1-6 to 5 points. Well, Cork will be disappointed, having scored just 5 points in the opening half so far. Kieran Murphy over there challenging. Kept in play by Ben O'Connor. Rescued here by Fergal Hartley. Niall McCarthy stopping it. But it's Waterford with players making the bigger impact, the key players standing up strongly. That's well away that time. Down towards Paul Flynn. In there too, Jack Kennedy. Off Diarmuid O'Sullivan out as far as John Gardner. Challenged there by John Mullane. Referee says you jumped in over him. Free out to Cork. Just watch this once again here. Oof, painful, down onto the arm. Hence the booking. Diarmuid O'Sullivan's free. Cork needing to up the tempo of this game a bit, play it at a faster pace than they have been doing. Joe Dean across the face of goal, and Clinton Hennessy able to nurse it out over the end line. So still 4 points between them. Brian Corcoran, who got the first point of the match. Hennessy up towards Dan Shanahan this time. Struck straight at Sean O'Halpine. Always available, either in the centre or on the wings. Brian Corcoran breaking it, trying to break it to himself, and that time there was a chop down. It's a free into Cork. Chance for them to put another point on the boards quickly and reduce the margin to just 3 points. But there it is, there's the chop down.
That's the direct ball in. Sean got it, just a quick look up and let it into Brian Cork, and that's what they need to do. Leave Brian there 30 yards from goals and play the ball in front of him, instead of this just carrying the ball for the sake of it across the half-back line.
And Joe Dean has just put over his third point of the match, 2 of them coming from frees, so 1-6 to 6 points. Coming up to about 3 minutes to go to half-time, plus maybe another minute or so of stoppage time. Puck out this time, won by Cork. And it's Jerry O'Connor once again injecting pace into the movement to his brother Ben, taking the return. This is better. Classy movement, and that's over the bar off the goalkeeper's stick. Jerry O'Connor with his first point coming out of midfield. Beautiful link play with his twin brother Ben, and then completing it with a swift strike. Beautifully over. 2 between them.
What's that I was saying about running with the ball?
This time it's a foul by Pat Mulcahy on Jack Kennedy. New challenge for Pat Mulcahy this afternoon. Jack Kennedy playing in just his 4th ever championship match. So Paul Flynn in no particular hurry, well aware of the importance of every free in a game of this standard. Every opportunity must be taken. This just outside the 45-metre line, but the distance from goal is probably about 50 metres out. The umpire goes and waves his hands and says wide. A couple of misses now by Waterford players in this first half that they might well regret later on. This was it here, you could see it just moving away off the post, out and wide. Donald Cusack. Again, the puck out putting Cork into difficulty. This is one here by Ken McGrath. Diarmuid O'Sullivan has come out the field, out to the half-back line. He's hooked. John Mullane was hooking that time, injured himself in the process. O'Sullivan trying to get the ball away, needing support and help here. This is Jerry O'Sullivan towards Ben, or Jerry O'Connor rather, towards Ben O'Connor. Back towards Jerry once again. Has Sean O'Halpine available? Lots of short passing. What are they going to do next? Another hand pass towards John Gardner. 65 metres out from his own goal. Low going long in towards Joe Dean, in towards full forward this time. Breaks towards Kieran Murphy, trying to make his way through. Looking for a penalty. Looking for something. Referee has blown his whistle. Now what's the decision and where did he fall?
If it's a free, it has to be a penalty, Jared.
Well, he didn't wave his hands out. That's what I was waiting for. This is where he moved inside. He was definitely inside the square.
It was definitely a penalty.
That's puzzling. Referee's given an ordinary 20-metre free. That should have been a penalty. Instead of 3 on the line, there are 5 facing Joe Dean. 3 points so far. He narrows the gap even more.
Cork are going to be a far happier team coming into half-time. Just a point down after playing against a very strong wind. Now, we remember last year's Munster final, Waterford had to give a brilliant second half display against the breeze. But Cork would have to be happy. They're not really got going yet and still are well in the game.
We're in stoppage time and there are 2 added minutes. 1 point between the teams. Waterford still the leaders. That goal, a crucial one. It's a free in to Waterford. Jersey hold.
And again, Seamus Prendergast today, to be fair, he's the only hurler in the country who's trouble running corner over the last 2 or 3 years. And again, he's given him a very hard time today. He scored 2 points and been fouled there again for that free.
He's dogged, he's determined, he's very courageous, and he will run through a brick wall.
And he has pace. For a big man, he has plenty of pace as well.
Paul Flynn, 2 points from frees so far. This should be a third. It needs to be. Missed one earlier on. He's got this one. Increasing Waterford's lead, approaching the break. 2 between them, 1-7 to 8 points. Both sides just about creating the same number of chances. Cork marginally ahead in terms of scoring opportunities. Cork with 15 scoring chances, Waterford with 14. In midfield, Ben O'Connor tried to pick it up, put his hands, couldn't quite get it. It's Michael Welch who's in there and playing almost a game of hockey with that one. As Waterford trying to keep it in play, much crisper strike by Sean O'Halpine, down towards Ben O'Connor. Ahead for Tom Kenny. Remember the goal he got against Wexford in the semi-final last year. He'd be content with a point here, and he is. Both Cork midfielders have now scored from play, and it's 1-7 to 9. That's 10 points to 9. And the half-time whistle has sounded at Croke Park in the second of the Guinness All-Ireland hurling quarterfinals. All-important goal scored by Dan Shanahan following a free after 17 minutes. Another one for Dan, a vital goal to give Waterford a bit more confidence and purpose in their play. They battled hard, but Cork will be quite happy going in. Against the breeze in the first half, they've struggled on occasions. They have had difficulty winning their own puck-outs. Waterford and Cork have it all to do with 35 minutes more to battle here in this quarter-final confrontation. And at half-time, it is Waterford who lead, but just marginally. 1-7 to 9 points. And let's go down and get some reaction now on the sideline. Our reporter today, Tony O'Donoghue.
Thanks very much indeed, Ger. Shamie Hannon from Waterford joins me first of all. You can feel the wind down here at ground level in particular, Shamie. Are you a bit disappointed you're not further ahead with that breeze?
Yeah, I suppose, Tony, the wind is fairly strong, but then again, it's a swirly wind. Like, I don't know, is it any good to anyone, really? But still, I suppose, you know, it must be an advantage, and I suppose we should be, by right, we should be 2 more scores up, but then we're ahead for the first half, and that's it. Maybe we'll have to work harder and try to make better use of it. It might be easier to handle playing against it, you know.
Waterford are certainly up for it, though.
Up for it, yeah, you can say that. We're well up for it, and Cork are no slouches, you know, they're there and merit, and they're Munster champions and All-Ireland champions, but yeah, the game is still in the melting pot. There's a good win there, like I said, and it's hard to play for yet anyway.
Thanks very much indeed. Fred Sheedy joins me from Cork as well, Cork selector. Fred, will you be happy enough to be just a point behind?
I'd say we'll be happy enough because we played very scrappy in our first touch is completely off. And like if we don't put a good 35 minutes together, we'll be out of this championship. We definitely need to get more serious with the game, get our first touch in and be more direct.
Thanks very much indeed, Fred. Back to you, Michael.
Yeah, it is all in the melting pot, isn't it? However, Waterford have that 1 point lead, so they certainly have given themselves a great chance of being in the All-Ireland semi-final. I'm going to be talking to the panel after that. We're going to take another break in the programme right now. But coming up after that, we have analysis with Cyril and with Ger Loughnane. Thanks. The second All-Ireland hurling quarter-final between Cork and Waterford. Waterford leading Cork by 1 goal, 7 points to 9 points, just that point in it. Waterford have done well, and I suppose the goal that they got in the first half was the real little breakthrough that they needed there.
Yeah, well, they took the game initiative like straight away. They won the toss, took the breeze. Even here, Justin McCarthy early on, like talking that they really believe they could win this. Now they needed a goal here. Now Paul Flynn takes it. It's a good save here by Donald Clusen, but like the defence will be, Dan Chan was in very fast, cracks a great ground ball into the back net, but the defence will be blaming themselves because when the ball is blocked like that, one of the wing backs and midfielders should be able to cut across and win the race. Like you'll be kicking yourself after because they've done the hard, but they've blocked it. But Big Dan gets in and he does what he's often done, like Dan the man for Waterford. That goal is vital. Now they'll be disappointed here, Michael, that either a wing back or a central fielder didn't get in front of the man coming in and whip it out because it was blocked, but still it put Waterford. No, it was put Waterford kind of in the driving seat. They needed that because even though they were getting not a great score from out the field, Cork were in the Cork were playing within themselves, but against a good breeze and still very much in the game.
But you'd have to compliment Waterford as well, Gerard, the way they've played in that first half. I mean, they've done all they can ask of a team to do. Some of those long-range scores that they got from Tony Brown and from Bennett were very important as well before the goal came, because it got the scores from that they needed.
And the moves they made before the game as well. You know, putting Murphy over on Dean, that has worked an absolute treat for them. And Seamus Prendergast out of centre forward. Now here we have Tony Brown. Now Tony Brown. This is an inspirational point. The kind of point that Waterford wouldn't have got here maybe last year or 2 years ago, gone wide or something like that. But now Waterford have taken the game to Cork. Now they're finding it very difficult to get scores close in, and their best chance is getting scores like that from far out. Now I was looking there. 4 of the Cork forwards haven't scored from play in the first half. Now that's very, very unusual. Now I know the same applies to Waterford. Sure. Seamus Prendergast has been their main.
But he's he's very strong under the ball. He's causing trouble.
He did that last year in the Munster final to Ronald Corn when he came out in the forward in the second half. You know, he got the winning point. And you see what Reds O'Grady did to Ronald Corn as well. A big, strong man who can catch the ball, who can take him on, and who has pace as well, as Prendergast has.
But I'd say the Cork forwards will be given out at half time because when the half-back and midfield have possession, they're not letting the ball up fast. They're still doing this lovely little hand passing, which looks lovely, but it means that the ball is up slow and they're being closed down inside. I would think John Allen at half-time is saying, listen lads, okay, work one overlap, but let the ball in fast in, because the boys inside are being starved, and when it comes, it's been closed down. Sure. But you have to admit, like, they're playing against a strong breeze, and they'll still be, okay, Waterford in front would prefer to be 5 or 6 up if they could, because, you know, to give them a strong position.
But still, you think they've learned from that from last year's Munster final, or this year's Munster Championship. Like, when they went ahead, when Cork went ahead in the Munster Championship, they started to over-elaborate, passing the ball back, passing it sideways. Instead of letting fast ball into Jordine and into Brian Corcoran, they're being starved. That's their main danger line. And they're not getting the right quality ball.
Find at half-time now, they will try to change it because they will be starved inside.
Well, one thing that Cork will be looking at, and Cork supporters I suppose will be looking at, is should they have got a penalty in that first half instead of the free in?
Well, up here looking at it, we thought it was definitely a penalty because like here's one of the few long balls that was in down here into deep corner. There's a fair bit of hassle here. Jordine goes on. This is Kieran Murphy tackled around and he's brought down. Now most people would think that that's well inside, but he doesn't. The referee's coming in from out midfield, and I suppose he's not too sure.
Doesn't take the attitude that the foul was committed outside the square. The foul was committed there. Yeah. He took the
referee. He made it for the high challenge.
Exactly. He gave it there.
And I would think
as well than there.
I would think as well, like even if they got the penalty, there was 2 points at them. I would think Cork being Cork, I don't think that they've gone for the goal there. Like a penalty would be great sticking the back net, but if they save to boost Waterford, I think they'd have gone for the safer option, bring it down to a point again. Cork are still gone in saying, listen, we're only a point behind, we're good enough to win this game.
And we have the breeze in the second half, and indeed the second half of Cork and Waterford coming up in just a few minutes. Yes, still loads more to come here on the programme after our second hurling quarter-final. We also have a look back to last night's Ulster football final replay that was between Armagh and Tyrone. That's at about 5:45. And then after that, after we've seen highlights of that, we have the Bank of Ireland football qualifier draw, round 4. That'll be live here on the programme. That's at 6:15. So a lot of counties obviously anxiously looking forward to that. At half-time then, Waterford leading Cork 1 goal and 7 points to 9 points. You know, it's always difficult to try and start talking about the second half and predicting a winner here because there's actually been so little in it. I mean, Waterford have played well, Cork are right in there with a chance.
Yeah, but Michael, Cork will be very disappointed with their half-hour then. Ben O'Connor, Niall McCarthy and Tim McCarthy. Neither of them, the first touch is terrible with the 3 of them so far. Now, Niall McCarthy, there's nothing happening for him. Timmy got a few balls deep possessed. Ben O'Connor even got a point from free, but not what they be expecting. And they'll be on to them now to get more into the game in the second half.
Isn't it amazing, United? They were very bad in the second half of the Munster final. They were very bad in the first half today. And Cork never make a change to that half-hour line. They stick with those rigidly, you know, and even in the second half.
But the other side of that coin is, I mean, Niall McCarthy, as we know, and Timmy McCarthy go out the second half and they could score 3 points.
They could, but at the same time, what we were saying at the start, when Donald O'Cusick is forced to go along with his puck outs, as he is again today, they're very poor at catching ball in the air, as is Jerry O'Connor and Tom Kenny. So that is where Cork are really being caught out. They're being caught out today in the first half, as they were caught out in the second half of the Munster final. And it's very interesting now. The wind is I admit the wind is a factor, but it's not the only factor.
But Jerry, you see, the first half, Donald is trying to place every ball. Now, everyone knows that, but if I was John Allen, I'd be saying to him, give it a big lash now and again, because the lads, don't tell me that Tim McCarthy and Tim McCarthy and McCarthy are strong as them, and they'll be as good as they mightn't be the brilliant there, but they'll be as good as anyone else. They'd fancy their chances, but they're not getting the chance to do that. I would think at half time there'd be harsh words in the Cork dressing room, especially at half time, and say, listen, either get into it or get out of it. As Jerry says, they never seem to be taken off, which maybe Tim McCarthy is the one that's always taken off. It might show that what Cork have on the line isn't that good, but they have faith in them. They still are the champions, and they will believe that they're still good enough to get to win this match.
I want to talk just very briefly about Seamus Prendergast, the Waterford forward, because obviously Paul Flynn is so important. Milan is important to them as well. Dan the man, and that's
Michael.
But Prendergast got a couple of points
physical
here.
presence,
and he's the unsung hero. That guy throws his body in. He doesn't look fast, but he's fast.
This one of his points. This is a build up all the way up the field.
Up on the field. This guy just gets out here. Watch this now. He takes it up here. Shrugs off attack, walks around rolling and curling, you know, and you think he's going to overcarry it here and just off the stick. That's just a great score on his left side, doesn't catch it again and floats it over the bar. But he's doing that. He usually pick him full forward and he usually plays centre forward, but his presence is very, very strong. And Jerry remarked before the game, like, this guy is one of the few lads that can upset Ronan Curran, and he's doing it again today.
Yeah. One thing that Waterford obviously, Ger, would have to look at is the fact that, you know, okay, they got the penalty goal in the first half, the goal came, they got a couple of fantastic long-range points. Prendergast got that point. There's nothing from John Milan. Paul Flynn has only scored in frees. Dan Milan's goal.
Well, you see, that's the problem. John Milan has made the bad start again in Croke Park. You know, he got a few chances at the start. He fouled one. He tried to take on O'Connor. He didn't get in. He did another one wide. He looked for free. He didn't get. Everything is going wrong for him at the moment. He just needs, if he gets one ball and puts it over the bar.
He got 1 point at the
exactly.
He was fouled a few times, to be fair to the guy. Paul Flynn isn't that physically strong on
and he seems to be injured as well.
But they're still these guys will be much just as dangerous against the breeze because there'll actually be more spacing. They'll have to get a good start because if they don't, Cork are their tradition would be that in 10 minutes to get past you, especially after half time. And this is the first 10 minutes is the vital 10 minutes for Waterford.
The question is, can Waterford produce a second half like they produced last year in the Munster final? If they do, they can win this game.
I don't have the answer to that, but those guys down there do. Let's see what happens. It's time to rejoin Ger Canning and Michael Dyke. No changes, I gather, Ger, on either team.
Exactly, no changes. That is the situation, as Waterford now will face into the breeze. And Donald O'Cusick, it'll be interesting to see just what kind of headway he makes with his puck outs. Wind assisted. When they last met, Waterford were ahead at half-time, lost by 2 points. Second half underway, and Michael Welch operating in midfield, trying to link up with James Murray. Instead it is Ben O'Connor, looking to get more into this game, looking to try and get decent ball in towards Brian Corcoran and give them the opportunity to shine here. Angling one across here, it'll be difficult for Joe Dean, impossible in fact, to keep the ball in play. Well, looking through the benches for both teams this afternoon, it's been said that Cork have a much healthier range of options available to them. So it'll be interesting to see just when they decide to spring players such as Neil Ronan perhaps to try and alter matters. That's going to be a throw ball right in the centre of the field. Just a point between the teams. Jerry O'Connor trying to nip in here, taking it up well. Leaving it behind to Seamus Prendergast. Now Michael Welch back out here to Dave Bennett. Into Paul Flynn, leaves it behind, runs on towards Jack Kennedy. Saved there in the end by Pat Mulcahy. Player who's played full back and centre half back and a very, very accomplished defender. Brian Murphy comes back here to him, to Sean O'Halpine. Into the forward line, in towards Joe Dean, being marked over there by Owen Murphy. Leaves it this time for Tony Brown to take. Struggling to get the ball away because of the presence there of Brian Corcoran. Nicely taken. Once again it's Michael Walsh beating Sean O'Halpine this time. Owen Kelly lashing it way in. Jack Kennedy was coming, challenging the goalkeeper, comes out towards John Milan. Awkward angle, trying to make a better position for himself or for somebody else. Ball runs away from him. Comes to Owen Kelly. Still to score in this match. And this time it goes to the left. Donald Cusack on his hands and knees in some considerable distress here.
Yeah, he did well there. An awkward ball came in and he was very brave out to Donald Logan. Took a knock.
I think maybe Paul Flynn. Just watch this again as Owen Kelly was knocking it in here. The goalkeeper was challenged by
Jack Kennedy, I think it was.
Jack Kennedy, in fact, yeah. There it is. Goalkeeper was, as you say, very brave and very decisive. John Allen, who is linked up with the other selectors, the little earpiece there, keeping the communication lines open at all times. Donald Cusack straight down the centre. Michael Walsh coming, rising up for that one. Comes to James Murray, comes back off the legs of Ben O'Connor, trying to apply some pressure on the Waterford backs. Murray on his knees that time. Comes out again to Michael Walsh, who's did a lot of hard work in the opening minutes of the second half, but Ben O'Connor here taking it from that group of players. Nice shot, good delivery, and it's over the bar. Ben O'Connor's second point, and the teams are level for the second time. Great start for Cork here, coming out looking for the vital scores. Ben doing what he does so well, just waits calmly, coolly, and then swiftly delivers it over the bar.
To feature Waterford though today, their backs seem to find it very hard to get out with the ball, and they don't use the hand pass as effectively as the Cork half-back line do to get out of trouble, and that's maybe 2 or 3 scores that came off the Waterford backs losing the ball today.
Oh, Fergal Hartley has made a mistake and he's leaving Brian Corcoran in along the back door towards Kieran Murphy, drops it down, saved. Still a backs to the wall situation, and in the end it's Tony Brown who's needed, and Tony Brown fires it away downfield. Oh, that was a scary moment for Waterford. An opportunity for Cork, spurned. Jack Kennedy laying it outside here towards the goal scorer from the first half, Dan Shanahan, marked by Ronan Curran. Also there is Pat Mulcahy. Still Dan Shanahan standing up strongly, and the referee says it's going to be a free. Just watch this previous sequence here, however. Once Fergal Hartley had slipped, it allowed Brian Corcoran in, and watch for Kieran Murphy coming in to try and take this down, try and get a shot on target, but missed his first opportunity, and in the end swept away by Tony Brown and Tom Feeney. Mr. McCarthy will be very pleased that it was Feeney that time who in fact got in the way of his fellow SARS man, Kieran Murphy. Now what can Waterford do at the other end? Paul Flynn. Teams level. Oh, that's a good looking free. Just inside the right hand post. Paul Flynn has got his 4th point of this quarter-final. Quick puck out taken by goalkeeper as far as Diarmuid O'Sullivan. Huge one down, runs beyond Joe Dean, runs beyond Brian Corcoran. Clinton Hennessy coming here on his right hand side this time, driving it down towards Owen Kelly. Standing his ground well to John Milan, concentration not good, bounced away from his hand straight to Tom Kenny. Milan keeps on chasing after him from corner forward up towards the half back line, but Cork now stopped by Dave Bennett. O'Halpine rises for it, needs support. That support is Brian Murphy. He's stripped, and it's a free to Cork. Just watch Brian Murphy here going over the legs of Owen Kelly, and not much doubt in the referee's mind. It'll be John Gardner to strike this. He's got a point from a free from the first half. The 2 SARS men waiting inside there. Good one from Gardner. Bang on target. And Cork go back in front. 11 points. A correction, they level. 11 points to 1-8. Level. Waterford trying to set up a meaningful attack once again. This time it's Diarmuid O'Sullivan who comes across here. linking up with his fellow full backline man Pat Mulcahy, way down towards Kieran Murphy. Did well to get out ahead of Ken McGrath that time. Timmy McCarthy can't hold on to it. Dave Bennett is battling in the centre there. It's Tony Brown who plays it wide in towards Michael Walsh. Dave Bennett once again out towards Dan Shanahan, taking on Sean O'Halpine into space. Brian Murphy trying to win the race here against Paul Flynn, does so, and Flynn lashed across as Murphy was trying to win that race, and the referee had spotted it from a good 30 metres away. 3 to Cork. Teams level, 11 points to 1-8. Ronan Curran having his headaches there with some of the runs through the centre. Made 2 fantastic catches in the first half in front of an attendance of 55,587. Diarmuid O'Sullivan's free. Listen to the crowd now. Brian Corcoran trying to keep the ball in play. Who did it go off? Well, it went off one of the forwards. The umpire is happy, although Joe Dean isn't too certain about that. And there are no complaints from Brian Corcoran. Tuck out to Waterford. Tense, anxious moments now for the two managers. Dan Shanahan lets it run back. O'Halpine once again. Linking up with Pat Mulcahy. Niall McCarthy trying to win the duel. Joe Dean smothered there by Owen Murphy's persistence. It's Ken McGrath once again. Now Niall McCarthy lobbing it in from the angle shot right on the sideline. No great finish, however, and that is 6 wides now for Cork. Nearly 9 minutes into the second half. Here's Seamus Prendergast. Had a very good first half. This is a real speculative one from some considerable distance out, and the umpire says it's over the bar. I think there'll be some people in the crowd who'll wonder. Waterford lead by a point. Cork come back with Timmy McCarthy racing forward here, challenged by Owen Kelly, lobbed in towards Joe Dean. Murphy gets a stick to it, down towards Fergal Hartley, trying to get the ball away. Brian Corcoran's there as well, as is Kieran Murphy. One-handed away by Owen Kelly. The referee saw the swipe, however, by Owen Kelly, thought it was a foul, and it's a free into Cork, and a chance for them to level the match once again. It's hotting up.
I think Owen Kelly showed both sides of his character. He made a great chase back down the field and stopped Timmy McCarthy from scoring a certain point, and then he comes along and pulls a wild stroke, and that's about the 3rd or 4th incident he's been involved in since the start.
Well, he's taking the captaincy very, very seriously, but needs to keep his emotions and temper in check. This is Owen Kelly here, right into Timmy McCarthy.
That was Ken McGrath.
Ken McGrath, rather. Yes, into Timmy McCarthy. And the yellow card there, I think, is to Owen Kelly. So that's 2 yellow cards now for Waterford. Tony Brown and Owen Kelly, 1 for Cork. Brian Murphy from the first half.
Cork are very similar as they have been in all their games. They're just doing enough, just staying in the game, but they're not the same drive and commitment and heart that they had last year. And you know, whichever team now has the most guts is going to win this game, and at the moment Waterford looked at more heart.
That's over the bar. Joe Dean has pointed his 5th, and now the teams are level for the 4th time. Yes, you wonder about Cork's appetite. Is it as sharp as it was last year? No question about Waterford's incentive. Cork with a lot of very, very talented players in their ranks. They are the Munster and they are the All-Ireland champions. Waterford showing their battling qualities. James Murray to take this sideline cut. Big one. Milan coming out there 45 metres out, taking his marker Brian Murphy out with him. Needing a score. He's got it. First score of the day for John Milan. Failed to score when the sides met last in the championship, but he's been anxious to get on the scoreline. Racing away here, taking it on his right-hand side, and it's Waterford who lead by 1. That's Pat Mulcahy, added to brilliantly there by Niall McCarthy. Up towards Brian Corcoran, taking on Fergal Hartley. 45 metres out, chasing after Dave Bennett. Good hook by Bennett. Support coming in from Joe Dean. After him as well as Owen Murphy, who's been after Dean all through the match, perfectly fairly. Good persistence, and Tony Brown has it back, and it's away down the field. Mulcahy coming across, playing out right half back right now in this particular position, just switching positions momentarily. It breaks down here once again to Dave Bennett. Not great length in it, but it reaches Ken McGrath. Waterford playing against the breeze in the second half, remember. McGrath urging on his colleagues to the greatest possible efforts. And I think there's a little feeling on Ken McGrath's part that should have been a Waterford ball. Might have touched Niall McCarthy last.
I think it did, Joe, yeah. Cork's All-Ireland's on the line now, and they need 3 or 4 of their forwards to stand up and be counted now, or else they're going to lose their All-Ireland crown. Waterford are hungry, they're chasing them packs, and they're giving it 100%, whereas a lot of Cork players aren't.
Owen Murphy again, there's so much quality out there from both teams. Ronan Curran, and it's Pat Mulcahy who comes from behind. It's stopped there by Owen Kelly, the Waterford captain this year. Sean O'Halpine, the Cork man who leads the Rebels in 2005. Tom Kenny laying one up for Jerry O'Connor, trying to flick it across towards Ben O'Connor, his brother, stopped instead, and away come Waterford once again. James Murray beautifully down to Dan Shanahan, taking on John Gardner, beating John Gardner. It's Shanahan, 20 metres out, 15 metres out, hooked by Gardner, brilliant defensive work, and the referee is in, and he awards a free to Waterford.
Great run by Dan Shannon there. I think Ronan Curran did come in, shoulder charge into the stomach, but it was marginal enough. There was no need for him to do it if he did give away. But if you just watch here, just followed in there with the shoulder, and there was no need for it. So the referee probably got it right.
It's a free in to Waterford. Referee having words with John Gardner, but I think from the replay there it was Ronan Curran who came across and made contact with the incoming forward. Paul Flynn, 4 points taken out of 6 frees taken so far in the match. They're also important. This is straightforward. And to make absolutely sure, Paul Flynn belts it high up into the Hill 16 direction. He gets his 5th point of the game. 1-11. That's 14 points to 12.
You'd have to say, Gerard, also that John Allen is very slow to make changes. Neil Rowan had scored 3 great points when he came on against Tip in the Munster final, and he's still sitting on the bench where they're half forward and is completely out of the game.
And you know, Michael, Cork have not led in this game since Dan Shanahan's goal after 17 minutes of the first half. Free to the Dacia. Interesting that in the last few years it's been every other year is where every other match that the team wins, you know. Waterford, then Cork, then Waterford again, then Cork. Is it Waterford's turn? Pat Mulcahy will have other ideas about that. They want to hold on to their All-Ireland crown. That's not a good clearance. Straight out to Owen Kelly. Good block down. Back towards O'Halpine once again. Again, it ran into Owen Kelly that time. And heated words are exchanged. John Milan arriving with his top and safety worth as well.
John Milan could get the line here now. He's already on a yellow card, as is Owen Kelly, and both of them are getting involved in ridiculous things.
He's got to be careful.
Sorry, John Milan is not on a yellow card. So
no, I think it was Rod Murphy who actually got the yellow in the first half, yeah. But they would need to calm down. A lot at stake. Place of the semi-final. Waterford are preparing Paul O'Brien, number 24, about to come into the action. Referee is just holding up the play so that Waterford can make their change. Paul O'Brien, who got the winning goal against Tipperary last year, coming in, or about to, for his 11th championship match. Linesman telling him just hang on a while. And Cork are preparing Neil Ronan as well. Time for change, crucial stage of the match. Nearly the end of the third quarter. Ken McGrath coming again, going by Cork men. Dangerous ball in towards Paul Flynn, and it's Diarmuid O'Sullivan who took it well. Cork got away with that, and good clearance by Pat Mulcahy. Again, good commitment and resolve being demonstrated by the Waterford backs. James Murray getting it down towards Seamus Prendergast against Ronan Curran. Intriguing ball inside. The hop really well judged by Diarmuid O'Sullivan. You don't stand around with that guy, not known as the Rock for nothing. Comes out to Jerry O'Connor. Up towards Joe Dean, who lost his helmet in the play there. Owen Murphy trying to take it up onto the stick. Brian Corcoran hand passing it. It goes straight to Owen Murphy. Not a good clearance. Comes straight up out here, however. And returned by Tom Kenny, and he puts it wide. Waterford still lead by 2, and the substitutions are about to be made. Look at this collision here with Diarmuid O'Sullivan literally thundering out against John Mullane. So Paul O'Brien's coming in in place of Jack Kennedy. There was always a debate before the game as to which one of them would take the place of Owen McGrath, who is out with a suspension, and Neil Ronan is in place of Timmy McCarthy.
Jerry, I think you have to give great credit to the 6 Waterford backs, especially their full back line. There was a lot of question marks. They've been run down in every paper in the country this week, and they've really stood up and recounted in this second half. And very disciplined. No silly frees been given away at all in the second half.
That's exactly right. Here comes Michael Walsh getting away from Kieran Murphy. Walsh from Stradbally, from John Mullane. Back to Owen Kelly. Great block down. Ben O'Connor coming away with it. Cork needing to get motoring. And he was being held up there, dragged back as he was trying to make some progress. And it's going to be a free into Cork. Just watch this again as Ben O'Connor came brilliantly across to deflect the ball away from Owen Kelly.
This is a big free, Jar, for Waterford for Cork in the context of the game. You feel the need to get it. They haven't scored now for quite a while, and I think they need to score to settle them down and get them back into the game.
Ben O'Connor is 1 out of 2, and that's Kieran Murphy, the other Kieran Murphy, being prepared over there to come into the action. Kieran from Erin's Own. Ben O'Connor. 2 points in the game. That's over the bar. Really well taken free. A pressure moment for Ben O'Connor in this game. Nearly 20 minutes into the second half. Puck out was taken too quickly. Referee says you have to wait for the whistle. Cork are just about to bring on Kieran Murphy in place of Niall McCarthy. So his day finished.
We can give him a nice little welcome there just to say our things.
Here's John Gardner. Only a point between the teams. Waterford leading. The All-Ireland champions looking for scores. Out comes the goalkeeper, Clinton Hennessy. Good awareness of where Tony Brown was. Pat Mulcahy trying to pick this one up, doing so successfully. Bottled up over there by Paul O'Brien. Coming through is Tom Kenny, making a lot of headway. It's Kenny going right through. Good challenge. Excellent challenge coming in that time. Comes out to Ken McGrath. The challenge was by Fergal Hartley. Brilliant intervention to stop a near certain Cork score. Michael Walsh way down the field for Waterford. Diarmuid O'Sullivan is under it, nurses it to himself, dodges away from challenges, has O'Halpine available. Here comes the captain, pursued over there by Paul Flynn. Sean O'Halpine going for a score. That's over. That's his first ever point in the championship in his 30th match, and he has levelled up the game. A captain's moment. The teams are level for the 5th time.
And is that a turning point, Jared? Just as he got that score, what about, that's what you call leadership, but Owen Kelly and Ken McGrath are both on the ground after that passage of play, and Cork are level. So that's the real turning point of this game.
And what about that for a block a little while ago by Fergal Hartley?
There's some second half, Joe. What about the commitment of both teams now in the second half? They know it's do or die. It's an absolute brilliant second half.
57 minutes are gone. Everybody needing a little moment's respite. They're giving it absolutely everything. And the two coaches doing their bit to try and keep their teams focused, motivated, make the right moves, make the smart moves, see if you can gain an edge here or there. Interesting that Dan Shanahan, by the way, has been switched across in the last few moments to pick up Sean O'Go-Halpine. Teams level. Guinness second quarter-final. Two more quarter-finals coming up next weekend. Here's Dan Shanahan, lobbing it in straight into the goalkeeper's hands. Donald O'Cusack away from Paul Flynn. Back out the field, battled down there by James Murray. It's quite a contest. And the referee this time indicting Waterford's Owen Kelly, who has to be careful. Nothing malicious about that challenge, but he can't go arguing the toss. He's on a yellow card.
Exactly, Jerry. Every free that he has been given since the start of the game, he's argued with the referee over it, and he's conceded a few of them himself, so he has to be very, very careful. I think the ref has been more than lenient with him so far.
John Gardner. Oh, that's a huge one. That's all the way. Cork lead. Gardner's got a third. Three brilliant pointed frees, and it's 15 points to 111. 1 point the margin. But Waterford are giving as good as they have been getting. Here comes Paul O'Brien. They look for an equaliser. Again, it drops short. A breeze may be a factor in some of those shots, not quite reaching the target. Good block down by Milan. Comes to Dan Shanahan, trying to free up a colleague. It's Seamus Prendergast coming through. Brilliantly done by Prendergast. He's got a third. And it's a thriller at Croke Park. Again, the referee wants the puck out to be taken when he whistles. 15 points to 112. Just look at this again here. Dan Shanahan standing up there against Ronan Curran. In steps Seamus Prendergast. He can play anywhere. It's 4 points, not 3. 4 points. I did him out of a point that he scored. Excellent return. Ben O'Connor. He's got 3. Held well there by Jerry O'Connor. Full of commitment. It's exactly what you expect in the championship. On a dull, overcast afternoon, the hurling is lighting up the day. That's John Gardner, but that's gone away to the left. 10 minutes to go, and every opportunity now is going to be so vital as Waterford prepare. Paul Foley. And he's coming in place of Paul Flynn.
I think it's a big gamble, Ger, taking off your free taker. In a tight match. They're obviously going for a big strong man in on Dermot O'Sullivan, but...
Well, this is a big moment then for Waterford to see what they can do, for James Murray to see what he can do. The cornerbacks come forward. Has he got options? Runs into a cul-de-sac. The dancing steps of Ben O'Connor getting it away out to his twin brother Jerry. Stepping away from danger. Back to Ben again. Match level. Waterford have possession. It's Tom Feeney way down towards Seamus Prendergast. Good hold. Did well against Ronan Curran. Trying to offload it. Tom Kenny in there as if his life depended upon it. Ben O'Connor was a little bit too dainty that time. The greater ferocity comes from Dan Shanahan. Big effort by him, but it's gone to the left and it's gone wide. Still level. 8.5 minutes remaining on the clock. 2 Cork players are on the ground injured. One of them is John Gardner. And the other is Ben O'Connor. In there, Dr. Con Murphy has got in to attend to one of the injured players. That's the physio, Declan O'Sullivan. Con was telling me that his son Colm is watching this match in Maryland. And I'm sure he's, like all Cork fans here and elsewhere, on the edge of the seat right now.
Credit to both teams. 10 minutes ago, Waterford were 2 points up and looked like they were going to pull away. Cork came back and led by a point, and then Waterford came up into a strong breeze, and Seamus Prendergast, giving him probably the exhibition of his life, scored his 4th point from play. A great commitment from both teams.
This is towards Kieran Murphy. The substitute from Erin's own, firing it in high, but he's put it wide. He would have been a hero. This is the injury here, which was sustained just a little while ago there by Ben O'Connor. It was an outstretched boot. But wide so far. Well, Cork marginally the more guilty. Jerry O'Connor in towards Joe Dean. It hops dangerously down to Brian Corcoran. Dangerous moment for Waterford. Buried in the 28th minute of the second half. Brian Corcoran, ever the hero. He got one in Perlis against Waterford. He's got another here. It's his 5th ever goal in the championship. It was a walloper past Clinton Hennessy.
Yeah, brilliant drop puck there. Just watch, he knew he was going to be blocked, so he let the ball hit the ground and then pulled on it. An unstoppable shot to the corner of the net. And a first-time ball from Jerry O'Connor that time. A high ball in, get it in there quick, and they'll cause damage. They're a very dangerous full forward line.
It was the brilliant ground stroke by Croke. It was the technique. It was the opportunism. John Gardner with the free. Cork leading by 3. Waterford now with a lot to do, but they're still in there with a really good opportunity. Need to get the ball downfield. Tom Feeney, not a good ball, mopped up by Tom Kenny in the centre of the field. Trying to open it up here once again. That's Neil Ronan playing the ball in. Fergal Hartley a little uncertain initially. Now he's battling there against Brian Corcoran. Again it is the substitute, Neil Ronan, in on the baseline there. The shoulder has injured the defender. Ronan cracks it over the bar. He's delighted. His first since coming on. And it's 116 to 112. This was it again here as Waterford had Fergal Hartley, I think, down on the deck from a very awkward angle. A look of delight on the substitute's face. 4 points the margin. You know, you were talking there a little while ago, Michael, about Waterford being 2 points up. The fact of the matter is they needed, perhaps at that stage, just to have pulled away.
Well, they did, Jared. Against Cork, you're always waiting for Cork to score a goal, in every match. And maybe that was slightly against the run of play. Fergal Hartley got a heavy knock there. Neil Ronan showed his strength in possession. He hit Fergal Hartley hard there and immediately went to ground. It was still an unbelievable finish from a tight angle. Waterford will need a goal now very quickly to get them back into the game, but it's hard to see it coming. They haven't really looked like threatening the goal all day. And looks like now Cork have done enough. But in fairness to Cork, All-Ireland champions, when they were under pressure, when their backs were to the wall, John Gardner in the half-back line in particular, and Sean Oak, and I said their star player there, Brian Murphy, cornerback, showed the leadership, and now it looks like they've done enough to go on to another All-Ireland semi-final.
Well, there's still another 5 minutes to play, plus stoppage time. And this is the Gardner effort here. This was a huge one. That was a magnificent point. And John Allen had to be pleased. Ronan Curran hasn't managed to get possession. Still in some difficulty. Waterford's line ball. Only 4 points between them. But only 4 minutes left. Waterford now, who have withdrawn Tall Flynn. And the other Tall Foley, is in there at full forward. Yet to get his opportunity. Dave Bennett to take this line ball. Easily stopped by Ronan Curran. Pressurised by Michael Welch. 3 Cork men around him. Nobody able to beat him so far. Difficult ball to take. It's done well there, however. Dan Shanahan inside towards the new full forward. Cork coping with the difficulties. Pat Mulcahy getting the ball here. Taking it away out of danger. Huge clearance way down the field towards Neil Ronan. Stopped over there by Tom Finney. James Murray walloping it downfield towards the man in the corner, John Mullane. Again, it's Ben O'Connor. Very clever play. Tom Kenny, centre of the field, looks for another. It's a beauty. In fact, it's Kieran Murphy. It's Kieran Murphy who drifted out there. Some of the fans making their way off. 117 to 112. That's Kieran Murphy now, who's gone out into the centre of the field. John Gardner now. Once again, it's another Kieran Murphy, the Erin's own version. Good take there by Clinton Hennessy. Well, the margin is 5 points, the widest it's been during this game, which doesn't really reflect the nature of the game so far and the contribution Waterford have made. Tony Brown trying to drop hit that one out, and he's taken it out over his own end line, and it's a 65 to Cork. It's the first of the match. He was really in some difficulty here, coming back over his own end line, and just couldn't make the connection. Referee and linesman in consultation with 2 minutes to go. But that goal after 63 minutes by Brian Corcoran would seem to effectively have set up John Allen's team now to see out the rest of this game and ensure a semi-final place for Cork. Ben O'Connor just looking for a nice piece of grass here in Croke Park to take this 65. And it is converted expertly. 4th point for Ben O'Connor, and the game now begins to run away from Waterford. It's 118 to 112. 3 minutes of added time to be played. Don't forget about the RTE Guinness Man of the Match competition. Pick your man of the match, having considered all of the players who played in it. And there are the numbers on screen. And text match 57111. Good prize. Good effort. Owen Kelly just off target. Just not quite his day. Man who scored 6 points and tormented Cork in the Munster semi-final. Couldn't quite repeat the exercise here. Here's Tom Kenny. Out to John Gardner. Both sides not just playing out time. Dropped in there dangerously for the goalkeeper. Takes it well. Beaten just once, Clinton Hennessy, on his debut at Croke Park in the All-Ireland Senior Championship.
Yeah, he's done very well, Jerry. He's handled everything well. His puckouts have been good, and credit to him to come into a game like this and play so well. And he could do nothing about the great goal from Brian Corcoran. Waterford have given it everything today. Just Cork had that little bit more class, and they had a bit more class on the bench as well. Neil Ronan and Kieran Murphy came in there and made a big difference for Cork as well in the second half.
Significantly, they also created 10 more scoring chances, 35 against 25 for Waterford. And class has told. Dan Shanahan fighting back. It's not over just yet. That's taken away by Brian Murphy. Out into the centre towards Jerry O'Connor. What was he trying to do? He's not quite sure himself. He's given it away to Ken McGrath. Lobbed in there dangerously towards Foley, the substitute. And again, it's Brian Murphy, and this time he concedes 65. We had one at the other end for Cork, now one down here for Waterford. But it's in stoppage time. 3 minutes of stoppage time to be played. Two quick goals. Otherwise, the game is up for Waterford, and I think the fans know it.
Yeah, Jared, and you'd wonder what Cork are going to do. The same glaring inefficiencies are there again. They're half forward, they're not functioning as a unit. They're struggling under the puck-outs all the way through, and they're overdoing the hand pass. They have to stop that if we're going to go ahead and regain the All-Ireland.
Here comes Owen Kelly. Into the mix it comes. John Gardner misses his first attempt to clear. Needs assistance, gets it there well. Kenny out here towards Sean O'Halpine. Driven away in the end by Neil Ronan, who got that magnificent point a little while ago. That's a great catch under pressure by Owen Murphy, who's battled his heart out for Waterford. They've had so many heroes, but they're still trailing in the match by 6 points. Michael Welch in stoppage time, trying to take on Kieran Murphy. The challenge now coming in from Jerry O'Connor was rather half-hearted. In the end, stopped rather easily by John Gardner. Here comes John Mullane, looking for a chance for Dave Bennett. And once again, it's Paul Foley who couldn't hold on to it. Cork now just clearing the ball out anywhere. James Murray with the sideline ball. The amateur whistlers, most of them from Cork, wanting to encourage the referee to take the whistle to the lips. About 40 seconds still to play of the 3 minutes of stoppage time. John Mullane, a disappointed player, I'm sure. Only 1 point. Seamus Prendergast, a magnificent 4 points. And again, they try to go through the centre here. And Ken McGrath in the thick of the action. 20 metres out. Free to Waterford. Probably go for a goal here. Ronan Curran is being replaced by Cian O'Connor. So a taste of the championship here for the young Erin's own player, whose dad Mickey was a Cork player of yesteryear and a minor selector. Ken McGrath going for the goal here. It's a point.
And Gerard, I think that introduction of Cian O'Connor is also sending out a message to Ronan Curran, an all-star maybe for the last couple of years, but he didn't have a good game. We know it, you know it, and now, you know, maybe a little bit of a reminder to him to up his form for the next day. He got a roasting today off Seamus Prendergast.
And the referee blows the final whistle, and Cork advance to the semi-finals. It was a good match, but the all-important score came after 63 minutes of the second half, or 63 minutes of the match. Brian Corcoran getting in at the loose end of a movement involving Joe Dean and cracking a great ground shot past Clinton Hennessy. And at the end, it's Waterford who lose by 5. Full-time score, Cork 118, Waterford 113. Let's go back to Michael.
Chair Michael, thank you very much indeed. Well, congratulations to Waterford on a truly battling and a heroic performance. But Cork are the All-Ireland champions. They're still the All-Ireland champions, and they will continue to defend that crown. We'll have more analysis of today's match between Cork and Waterford in just a few minutes. And the man congratulates the Rock of Cloyne. Yes, Jim O'Sullivan and his Cork teammates are into the All-Ireland semi-final, and Waterford are out of the championship. You know, one of the key scores in the second half of that match was scored by Sean O'Gahal, being the equalising point for Cork. A really inspirational score from an inspirational captain. He's talking to Tony O'Donoghue.
Sean O'Gahal, did you ever score a point like it? Did you score a point at all in championship?
Tony, never scored a point in my life, so I suppose today was history, because that'll probably be the last point I'll ever score. But I mean, every point today counted, and you know, by God, we knew coming up it was going to be hard, and hard it was, and we're just delighted, you know, to get out of today with a win.
The conditions here today, the wind was swirling and it was gusting at times in the first half. Waterford ahead at half-time. You had a lot to do.
I suppose it was similar to last year's All-Ireland final. You know, Kilkenny had the win in the first half, and Waterford did all the pressing and all the, you know, all the attacking today in the first half, and we were seriously under pressure, not playing well within ourselves. But we knew, you know, going in at half-time only a point down, and not really, you know, played into the gear that we would like to play. So we knew it was kind of inevitable if we got our game together in the second half that, you know, we'd ease into it. But to be honest, it was tip for tap there for a while, and I suppose the crucial break was Brian's goal, really.
Before we get to Brian's goal, your point, though, it was inspirational, and it was at a time when Cork needed that inspiration, because the forwards weren't scoring as freely as you'd have liked.
No, I thought the Waterford backline hurled tremendous today, and, you know, fair play to them. They were under pressure, you know, with the full backline, and I knew there was going to be that they were going to play well, and I said to myself, if we did come out against Waterford with the backline playing well, that we were going to be in serious pressure, which we were. But I mean, you know, these games, you know, a point is as good as a goal or whatever, but they never taught you about the straight after the point, the mishap. I got hooked, and sure, they got the equaliser, but that's the way championship goes, Tony.
The killer score for Cork, though, was Brian Corcoran's goal. He's done it again for you. He really is inspirational, and that sealed the game, didn't it?
I mean, what a man to pull it out of the bag, really. He was under pressure. I think he was battled up or whatever, and whatever magic he, you know, weaved. I think he did a drop shot, beat the goalkeeper, and by God, we were relieved when Brian scored that goal. And then it kind of gives a platform then, and then I think the game really opened up, Tony, and then you can see gaps, you know, evolving in the Waterford backline. and we were finding fellas freely that we weren't finding up to then, Tony.
Well, congratulations, Sean. You're in the All-Ireland semi-final again. Well done.
Good man, Tony.
Back to you, Michael.
Darren, congratulations to Sean Oakley's performance today, and indeed his Cork colleagues as well, pulling that one out of the fire, gentlemen.
Well, out of the fire in a way, but I suppose like all great champions, they demonstrated two things. Composure under pressure. Even when they were 2 points down, the game going against them, there was no sense of panic in the Cork defence or in any part of the field. And the second thing is they stuck to their game plan. Now, a lot of us don't like a lot of this short passing and all that, but they stuck to that, even in the tightest situations. And eventually everything worked out for them. You know, his point, Gardner's point after that when Seamus Prendergast equalised, and then of course Corcoran's goal, really, that was the thing that turned the game around. But a terrific second half.
It was. I'm sure one man is delighted and relieved at the end of all that is the Cork manager, John Allen. He's talking to Tony now.
Thanks, Michael. John Allen joins me. John, relieved, I suppose, is the big emotion to get over at Waterford. Once again, they proved such a very good team.
They did indeed, yeah, relief, absolutely. I mean, the game was there to be won or lost up to, I suppose, 10 minutes to go or 7 or 8 minutes to go, and our talisman came up trumps again with a vital goal at a vital time in the game, which did turn the game.
What about the performance of your forwards before that? Because you did take off to the half-forward line. Were you concerned about your struggle there at that line?
We were, obviously, yeah. I mean, the fact was Waterford had 3 games where we had 1 game, and match fitness, we had some of our forwards hadn't been playing. We had been training with, a very depleted group for a while the county championships are on, and so, this game will bring us on a lot. Obviously, we weren't, we did replace 2 of our forwards, and that's a concern for us, but I think this game will do a lot for us.
It seems to be a very economical Cork style at the moment to do just enough to win the games you've had to up to now.
Well, Tony, I assure you that's not a plan. That certainly isn't a plan. That's just the way it's panning out, and, we won today by a narrow margin. We won the last day by a narrow margin. We won the first day by a narrower margin, and it's, I'm just delighted we won.
Thanks very much for talking to us, John.
No problem, Tony. No problem.
Yeah, delighted they won, and what the 2 men talked about there, John and Sean Oak, before that, of course, was Brian Corcoran's goal. I mean, it was tit for tat, it was all square at that stage, and something had to give, and Brian Corcoran's goal gave it.
Oh yeah, I guess the old dog with the hard road. I suppose the first thing you have to do about today's match, Michael, is congratulate both teams. Fantastic game with Brian Corcoran, he was having a fierce duel here with Hartley, like this ball up, again the Cork little flick out here. So great to find possession, high ball in. Now there's a terrible tussle going on in here, and Hennessy goes had a great game. Now watch this, he takes it up. Does nothing, the fullback does not know, but a drop shot, it's nearly a lost start in hurling. You can't block it, so you can't cover with the hurl, because when you drop shot it, he throws it down. Watch it, it's nearly impossible what he does here now.
It's a lovely flick back by Jardine there.
Beautiful, but he drops shots, it's a lost start. You can't block it, see, the defender does nothing really wrong, but he's not really expecting it. Most people would be happy if he tapped over there, but he knew he was going to be blocked, so into the corner. It's a fantastic goal, and that turned the whole game. The old dog for the hard road. But you'd have to say, to be fair to Waterford and to the full back line, and Owen Murphy had a fantastic game. Hennessy played very well, and I thought Seamus Prendergast had probably the game of his life. They played very, very well, but as I was saying before the game, Cork are the Munster champions, Reign All-Ireland champions, and this game will bring them on a ton.
It will. A couple of people had to step up for it for Cork as well, and I suppose like a couple of key scores before that as well. Sean O'Halpine's point that I mentioned earlier in
we weren't expecting anything less from Waterford. Waterford Cork games over the last few years have been great games, very close, and we knew that today wasn't going to be any different.
Once again you found the back of the net. It was a crucial moment and a crucial goal.
I suppose goals win games. We gave away an unfortunate goal in the first half, but in fairness, the Waterford defence were very strong all day, and we didn't get too many chances, but luckily the one that I got, it managed to creep into the corner.
Justin, commiserations. It was still a very good team performance, but just didn't quite get over the line.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we battled very hard and we played some outstanding hurling, and we took some great chances, and I always knew that we could sort of up the pace, and we did do that. It was just going to be one move or one vital score was going to change the whole issue. And Cork got out about 10 minutes to go, and we didn't respond with a goal. Realistically, we got some good points, and but that was a psychological blow for us. Up to that, we had Cork kind of pinned down, and we didn't let them get away from us. We were doing everything probably right, but in a game like that, so tight, that one chance can make a difference.
It was a brave step to change your goalkeeper coming into this quarter-final, but he did very well, and indeed your defence did very well.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about the defence, and we worked on it and we spoke about it, and Clinton had an outstanding game of goal. But he's a good goalkeeper for starters, and you know, he's put a lot of work himself too, and I was pleased with the backs. I was thrilled with the way the team performed. I couldn't question their performance, their heart, their commitment, their hurling, their ability. They're a good, very good team. But we played a very good team too. Don't forget Cork All-Ireland champions, and you know, they're always waiting to steal that chance maybe when it comes around. And then they would just wait for that chance when it came, then they took it, and they just moved on another peg. But I'm very pleased and thrilled for many of the match, of course, Seamus Prendergast, which had an outstanding game, and I'm glad for him and his more colleagues and so on.
Pete, a couple of weeks ago when we were analysing Armagh's draw with Tyrone in the football, we marvelled at the way they stuck to their game plan without playing well. They never panicked and they eked out the result. Cork don't do panic either?
No, they don't. That's the experience of being All-Ireland champions. And in fairness to Waterford, they played well. They gave everything that they had in their team and on their line. But they never really put Cork under enough pressure for any panic to set in. The furthest they led was by 2 points. And if you look at it overall, not being critical of anybody, but Paul Flynn was injured coming into the game. John Milan only scored 1 point. Owen Kelly wasn't at the races at all, whereas in the earlier game, Owen Kelly, I think, scored 6 points from midfield. So there really wasn't any question of panic, but in the last 10 minutes, superior fitness levels, more quality on the sideline to introduce, and of course, the finishing power of Brian Corcoran decided.
Donald, you were manager for the last 2 years. You delivered a Munster title, and then last year an All-Ireland title. Now you're exclusively devoting yourself to teaching. Now, what would your mid-term report be? What's your mid-term report on Cork?
Getting there bit by bit, Pat, you know. I mean, the thing is, today was, let's be quite honest, was a great contest. And Waterford put up a great show for, you know, up to the last 10 minutes of the game. And as Justin said there, you know, one bit of magic from Brian Corcoran, you know, put the game out of their reach. But I agree with Pete there. I thought that, you know, Cork didn't panic. They have a certain game plan, and you know, they're professional. Every one of them, you know, does their bit. And some people will play well today, some people didn't play so well maybe, but everyone was there to compensate, and particularly they had a good bench. Neil Ronan come in, Kieran Murphy and so on come in at vital stages, and I think that got them over the line.
Pete, Cork's running game is very, very effective, and I think all opponents know about it now, but they find it difficult to contain it, don't they?
Yeah, it's probably a game that don't help them to perfect, because they're not physically a big, strong side, so they have to get around opponents rather than going through them. And a lot of people criticise it, but watch the movement of the players, not on the ball, but the players round about. Everybody is running forward here. The two Ronan scored the point, but look at everybody is moving towards the goal in one direction. There's 3 or 4 different options every time you have a ball, and people are wondering, how do you stop this game? But it's extremely difficult to stop. We all know they do it, because as a defender you get tended to be drawn towards the ball. But here we go again, down the wing. Look where Brian Corcoran's coming in on the far post again, if it comes off the post or anything like that. It's a game that have perfected to perfection at this stage. It's going to be very difficult to stop, because as I said, they're not physically strong. They'll come up against Kilkenny later on. We saw what Wexford did against Kilkenny. They moved round about them rather than competing with them aerially. And then in defence, Cork are the other way. They're very strong in the air, so they have a mixture of both, which is very good.
Donald, Waterford mixed the good with the bad today?
They did really, Pat. You know, they needed, as Pete said earlier, I think they needed a top-class game from everybody, you know, particularly in the forwards, and I didn't think that, you know, John Milan here got an excellent score, but I felt from the start he lost a few balls, and I thought it was a bit over-anxious, that he got to the balls first, right, but he tried very hard all through this, to be quite honest, but it seemed as if he was trying a bit too hard, and Seamus Prendergast, of course, delivered an excellent game on the 40 for him, and, you know, took great scores, but he's a player with great heart, great commitment. But on the other side, when it's a case of, well, we talked about the goalkeeper, and the question for us, why wasn't he in goal all the year? Because he gave a superb performance, very assured around the square, gave great confidence to his back line, and did everything well. And here's Owen Kelly rushing back into his defence, and Waterford, a bit under pressure. Fergal Hartley should have did better, 2 hands maybe with a pick, and, you know, nip and tuck there, right, tackling, and get it away, and then City undisciplined, right in front of the goal, handing Cork a simple score. Waterford were a point up that stage, and it was in the 10-minute period after half-time where they had worked very hard to get in the ball. You can't do that. You can't have ill-discipline like that. But Owen Kelly was slightly off the pace, tried fierce hard, but maybe was a bit over-anxious as well.
Pete, the game was in the balancing pot there, melting pot, for a lot of stages of the second half. Where did you see the turning point?
It was level 5 times in the game overall, and in the last 10 minutes of the game, John Gardner got to make some points from long distance. But here's two things that I picked out, and it's 2 block downs, and they mightn't seem that important, but they give a lift to the team that get them. And look at Ben O'Connor, how far he travels there to get the block down, and that ended up in a point for Cork. The sides were level at the time. If Owen Kelly had got the point, it would be a 2-point swing. And it's simple things like that that can turn a game in your favour. Here we see the goal. Joe Dean, opportunist again, just going wide, flicks it back into the back. And that goal done, you can take it over from here. It's just class.
Well, I think the Cork full forward line put the Waterford full back line under pressure all day, and you know Joe Dean gets a vital little flick back. It might have been lost by some of the people, but that's what made
Why
the goal.
don't they book it in long to them if they're so effective?
Well, you see, I think Cork have played. It isn't just puck it in long and willy-nilly just hit it in for the sake of it. Like, I mean, the aim of the Cork players is to hit in quality ball that will give the advantage to the Cork players. And let's be quite honest, you know, it was very, very tight up to then, and that was just a bit of magic from Brian Cork. It must be goal of the year, Pat, at this stage, you know.
Well, time once again to announce the RTE Guinness Man of the Match for the second of this afternoon's quarter-finals. And the award goes to Waterford's full forward, Seamus Prendergast. So some consolation for the day, Seamus, Pete?
Seamus was outstanding today. He was playing on Tom Ronan Curran at centre back, and Ronan, as we know, is a strong hurler. He started at full forward, came out centre forward, and he dictated everything on that line for 50 minutes of the game. He scored 4 points in play, and every one of them was a classic. He's a player that's grown in stature and probably a player that doesn't get enough recognition in the Waterford jersey, and I thought he was well-deserved man of the match today.
So when the dust had settled in Croke Park, Marty Morrissey caught up with Seamus Prendergast.
Well, Seamus Prendergast, congratulations, well done. Michael Whelan, Head of Sponsorship in Guinness, is going to present you with the RTE Guinness Sunday Game Man of the Match Award for this All-Ireland quarter-final. Well done. Seamus, it's small consolation, but you certainly had a fabulous game, scoring 4 points.
Yeah, I was happy enough with my own game, but just disappointing at the end. Like, you'd give back the Man of the Match if we won the game. Like, I'd have no problem with that, so it's just a pity we didn't take our chances when they came to us, and you know, that's the end of another year for us, and without getting to an All-Ireland final, so we're very disappointed today.
Your clubmate did very well today. I thought his ball handling was superb. Your goalkeeper, Clinton Hennessy. Your defence played well.
Oh yeah, I think our defence played very well, especially Clinton on his first day out at Croke Park. It's a big arena in our championship debut, but I think he did fine, and the whole defence did fine. It was just we didn't get to have enough fellas scoring up front, I suppose, and if you don't score, you won't win games, I suppose.
It was a difficult game, and it's a difficult defeat. Do you think you can stay together and give another whack?
I think so, yeah. Most of the team is young enough. There's a few lads over 30, but you know, there's a few young lads coming on, and they'll fill the gaps if a few lads retire and that, but we'll be back again next year.
Now, of course, this afternoon we had a competition, and if your selection of the RTE Guinness Man of the Match was the same as that of our experts, then you were in with a chance to win 2 tickets to next weekend's quarter-finals, plus overnight accommodation in Dublin for 2. And the winner was Eileen Collins from